feels like this trip has taken an absolute lifetime to arrive, but I'm so glad it has. Welcome to Brighton. Look at this! 6 o'clock in the morning. It's so early. Definitely like the best time of the day to come to the beach, because yes, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and it's very early. It was quite hard to get out of bed this morning, but look at this light. The light is incredible. It is perfect for taking photos and video, and as well, this is Brighton Beach. This is incredibly busy. Give it a couple of hours and yes, it's Monday morning, but this will be absolutely packed. We've pretty much got the whole of Brighton Beach all to ourselves. Perfect. So even though I am away for a few days and it's nice to get away from everything for a little while, I still want this video to be quite informative about something related to video and photography, because that's something I've not done in quite a while and it's something I want to get back into doing. But in this video, with the light being the way it is, nice soft light on the right, and it's just really nice morning, I thought it would be the perfect time to talk about ND filters. If you haven't seen an ND filter, this is one of them. This is a variable ND from Gobe, which have now changed their name, I believe, to Urth. U-R-T-H, Urth, I think. Might be wrong. But this is a variable ND, and it is effectively, if I turn it, my hand's in the way, but it is effectively sunglasses for your camera, so you can see it getting lighter and darker as I turn it just there. So what this allows you to do is to use a wider aperture and get more depth of field in your image, so you can get more depth between you and the background, or the subject in the background. So for example, right now I am at f/18, so the aperture is really small, and it means everything is kind of in focus, but it looks really good because that's quite far out into the background and you've got everything in focus here. So if I wanted to, for example, have a blurry background, I would need to change the aperture to a wider aperture, which then looks like this. So that is now at f2 and you can't see me at all. It's completely blown out. So I'm going to change that back to f/18. But then if I put this ND filter over the top, you can see it is way too dark. You can't see me at all. It is the complete opposite. It is the complete extreme. So what you have to do is then find the balance between your aperture and your ND filter to create a nice depth of field. So what I'll do now is I'll pop this on, change the aperture to around f3, f4, and hopefully you'll see the difference. And now I have the ND filter on. Everything is completely blurry in the background. I'm at f4. Because that's so far away, it looks really blurry in the background. But even over here, we've got more depth of field. The sea looks out of focus as well. And it just gives you more depth between the subject and the background. And it helps you, if you want that sort of look, that nice cinematic look, this really helps with going for that look. Now there are times where you don't want to use it and there are times where you do want to use it. It's completely up to you and the look you want to go for. You can get away without using an ND filter. I've not used the ND filter at all in this video up until this point. It has all been filmed at a small aperture around f/18 because it's quite bright, and I think it looks good. But yeah, I'm going to go with the ND filter now. So I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of the morning. Such a nice morning. Now I'm off to find Holly because we did come out together, but because it's so nice, Holly wanted to get out onto the pier and take some pictures before the nice sunrise disappeared. So I'm gonna go and find Holly while she's doing that. I was just taking a nice kind of walking past shot that I could turn into some B-roll, and I'm out of breath because I'm talking about it. I realised the sea was coming in quicker than I realised. I walked past the camera looked round and the waves were like around the legs of my tripod. I thought my camera was going to get swept out into the sea. So I turned back, tried to run, slipped over and banged my knee, and it really hurts. Found Holly. Here's Holly.
It's a frog in my throat.
I've nearly had a disaster.
Did you lose your drone?
No, I nearly lost my camera.
How?
Because I didn't realise how far the sea was coming in, and I turned round and the wave was like round the legs of this. I turned round, tried to turn and run and fell over.
You're a twat. Did you get it on film? That I need to see.
I think Brighton might be one of my favourite places to visit in Britain. I think I'd definitely live here. I love it. I love everything about it. By the sea, it's quirky, it's colourful, everyone's friendly. I love it. Still so early. It is only 9:30 and we've been up since, what time are we up? 6 o'clock? We were on the beach at 6 o'clock. We're gonna go for an early morning trip to sea life and then enjoy the beach again later on. Not the biggest fan of seafood.
I'm not eating the snail yet. Look at this one.
Eat this. Oh god, eat it. Eat the snail.
I'm not sure I
Eat
can.
the snail.
You know.
Eat the snail. No.
No. That's
First ever real life Banksy. The lighting in here really isn't very good. I've got a window there, a very small window, and a very small light there, but I've not brought any other lights with me, so it's going to have to make do. But we've come back to the hotel just to sit down and relax for a bit, because we've literally not stopped walking for 3 days. As I was talking about ND filters before, I just wanted to mention one last thing about ND filters. Now, when you have one, you don't want to use it all the time. There are certain situations when you're going to want to use it and when you're not going to want to use it. For example, when you want a nice shallow depth of field and you want to focus on a nice specific item. So for example here, this is a nice shallow depth of field. I'm at f4.5. All the background is blurred. I've just realised that above the bed. What is that?
interesting.
But anyway, we've got a nice shallow depth of field, so you're focused on me as I'm talking to the camera. If I wanted everything to be in focus, I would have a smaller aperture, so I could go down to f sort of 10 and then increase the ISO to bring more light in, and you can see it's not as shallow. So we're gonna go back down to here and change the ISO back again to where we were, and you can see nice shallow depth of field. Because I'm talking to the camera, it's good because you're kind of focusing on what I'm saying a little bit more. As I was saying before, when we were on the beach, if it's really bright and you want that nice shallow depth of field, you're going to have to use an ND filter, and what it helps you to do as well is to keep that nice natural motion blur. So if I move my hand, I'm shooting at 25 frames a second, and to get that motion blur, my shutter speed is at 50 frames a second, so double my frame rate. An ND filter allows you to do that. However, sometimes you don't always want that nice blurry background, and sometimes you do need to focus on everything a little bit more. Sort of when you shoot in landscapes, that is also very useful. And the other situation you don't really need to use an ND filter is like this, for example. There's not much light in this room, so I'm shooting with my aperture wide open. I could go even wider if we wanted and take down the ISO there, and again it is even more blurry. But sometimes if you're using a shallow depth of field, you don't want to overuse it, because all of your shots when you're stitching them together can become a little bit wishy-washy and you can get a little bit lost in it. So try and mix it up a little bit, and yeah, use your ND filter. They are brilliant, especially if you get a variable one like this, because you can literally twist it and change how much light you're letting into your lens and keep your camera settings the way you want them. So they are very useful. You just don't want to use them all the time. Did that all make sense?
Was I supposed to listen?
You weren't listening.
No.
I'm gonna go and have a lie down because I can feel my eyes closing. So we ended up sleeping for like an hour or two back at the hotel, and then we went out for tea, found a Banksy, and now we're sat on the beach again. It's like, what time is it? About 8 o'clock, half 8. Sun's going down. Look at that over there. It looks incredible. Yeah, pretty good end to the trip. I've not vlogged this whole trip because I kind of not really felt like making videos recently, and it's been nice to get away from it. But today I've really enjoyed just picking the camera up. It's helped me get that hunger back for it again. Looking forward to making more videos. But I'm gonna leave it here. I really like Brighton. I wanna live here. I wanna live here.